Hello, everybody, and welcome to our inaugural teach-in. We have another wonderful speaker with the Black Family Homeschool Educators and Scholars teach-in. I am your host, Dr. Khadijah Ali-Coleman, and our next guest I had the privilege of sharing a platform with earlier this year, part of a homeschooling conference that was virtual. Right before the quarantine and the pandemic of 2020, we were part of this virtual homeschooling conference. And so it's a pleasure to be in the same arena with her right now and to learn more about her journey, her homeschool journey. So without further ado, I'm going to have her introduce herself and tell us a little bit about her homeschooling journey and what she currently is doing as a homeschooling parent.
Thank you. Hi, my name is Journei Bimwala. I'm a mom of three. I have a 7-year-old and a 6-year-old. I've been homeschooling since my 17-year-old was in 4th grade. So I've been doing this for quite a while. And how I got into homeschooling was because of my daughter. She never went to public school. She always, she went from going to Catholic school to then a charter school. And the more she went to school, the less she became interested. And she loved learning. She loved going to school and all these things. But one day she told me that she didn't want to go anymore. And I asked her why. And she said, she just wanted to stay home with me. And why can't you just teach me? She was like, I think you'll be great. And for first I was like, no, I don't think that's how it goes. No, this doesn't happen this way. I'll find you another school. But then I thought about it. I did some research. And the only thing I knew about homeschooling is what I saw on movies, on TV series. It's people that are usually in some kind of sect that homeschool their children. But when I did my studies, I stumbled upon all of this information and all of these different things that I can do with my child that I didn't even know was possible, was even available. And I was like, oh, okay, I can do this. And the thing is, my daughter, while she was in school, she was being bullied. She was being bullied in school, and I met with the teacher, I met with the principal, and nothing was happening. And at the same time, I've also had issues with schooling, period, and I didn't know that I had alternative. And as a Black mother, I wanted my children to learn about their history. I wanted them to see their reflection in subjects, in the future, in the person that is teaching them. We live in a world where it's racism everywhere, and I didn't want to shield them away from that. I wanted them to be prepared. And growing up, I'm a big Malcolm X, I'm not gonna say fan, but I respect him highly, and I followed him since I was 8 years old. I remember when I was 8 and I watched the movie Malcolm X, and everybody was like, I am Malcolm X. And I saw a quote that I can't remember, word for word, so don't quote me on it, but it was something as in, why would you allow your oppressor to teach your children? And I thought about it. I was like, you know what? That is so true. Like, what am I doing? I'm sending my children to be taught by a system that is systemically keeping us down. So I was like, you know what, I can do this. I'm a high school graduate. I went to college, graduated from college. So I know how important education is. So I said, okay. I sat her down. I was like, hey, she came back from school. I told her, listen, good news. You don't have to go back to school. I'm going to homeschool you. She was happy. Like, she was just thrilled. And I was thrilled too. But so that's how my journey kind of got started. Originally, I'm from the Congo, and I lived in Europe for a bit, and then I came here in the United States when I was 12 years old. And I went to when I was 12 because I had an abusive environment growing up here. So I ended up in a foster care system. So from 12 all the way up to 21, I was in a foster care system. So I've seen different way of life. I've gone through so many things, and there's so many things that I wanted to prepare my children for. I wasn't raised by my parents, so I always have that thought in my back of my mind, but what happens if something happens to me? I want my children to be prepared for certain things. Just like how I wasn't prepared, my parents didn't know that, things was going to happen the way it happened, and I had to do things and figure things out on my own. So I was like, okay, I had to kind of pull all of my experiences, put them together, and kind of teach my children and prepare them. So looked into everything, and we just took it off from there, and she loved it. She loved spending time with me. I love spending time with her. And what I've learned while I was homeschooling her before her siblings came along is that my daughter was struggling with so many other things, right? So because she was being bullied, she had self-esteem issues. She had personal issues she was dealing with. And homeschooling allowed me to focus on things that she was suffering from. I was like, academics are very important, but what's more important to me is that she needs to have confidence. She needs to have self-esteem. She needs to see herself in a way where she will thrive, you know what I mean? And she'll be able to give her all in everything that she's doing. So let me just look at her weaknesses and strengths, find out all of the things that she likes, that she's into, and then just build something from there. And that's what I did. So every year or every semester, we'll sit down. So she'll write a list of all the things she's interested in that she wants to do. She'll write a list of all the things that she feels that she needs to improve on. I will write my own list. We'll bring it up together. We'll talk about it. And then from there, I will just create curriculum and put together resources that will help her with these things. The first, I would say, 6 years, I was heavily focused on psychology type of things with her. And I'm so glad that I did, because something simple as she has issue making friends, right? Like I put her in programs that were outside of the homes, and we'll go to that, but she still felt like she didn't have enough friends. I'm like, okay, you go to dance class, you go to computer class, you go places where you're surrounded by children. How is it that you don't have any friends? And the more we talked about it, the more she'll tell me what she was fearing and things like that. So I will put exercises. We'll do exercises at home where I'll get her to speak up, pretend I'm this person and speak to me and tell me how you feel. And then we'll go to the park where there's other kids, and we'll have a simple exercise like, okay, I just want you to go over there and just say hi. Just say hi. And we'll go to the park. The first time, she just couldn't do it. The second time, she took a few steps. And I'm like, okay, that was good. And then we come back home and we talk about what happened when you took that step to when you stopped. And we'll kind of go over it. And then we just kind of kept going in that type of routine to the point where she actually made it over to the other kids and was like, hey, hi, my name is Naya. Is it okay if I can play with you guys? And that was huge. And for me, her do something that was important to her and so vital to her growth. We were still doing our math, our other learning, but that wasn't the center. For me, it's like I need her to know herself. I need to strengthen anything in her that needs that extra support. I got to know her better, because you think you know your child, but until you're with your child ongoing and you're having conversation with them to kind of see how they see things, how they respond to certain things, even in confrontation. We have meetups, and I'll always sit back and kind of observe. How does she interact with other people? How does she respond? How can I support you more on this? And we just kind of build a trust and an understanding. it was hard at first because she's used to being in a regular schooling, schooling set. But she just kept getting stronger, and I also got stronger. And I don't know about other homeschooling house, but I grew up in an abusive home where hitting, yelling, screaming, it's a norm. So in my household, yelling and screaming was also a norm. And when I first started teaching and she couldn't get something right, I would get upset because we just learned that yesterday. How could you not know this now? And then she will be scared. She'll kind of like, it was just kind of butting head. And then I learned, like, wait a minute, this is not conducive to learning. You know what I mean? Like, why am I upset that if she doesn't understand something, right? I can't be upset about it. I have to now control me. I had to turn the length on me. Like, what kind of teacher am I? What am I not doing properly? What am I missing? And I stopped making things about me and making it about her. Because if I'm teaching you, then anything that I bring to you has to be about how you learn, how you receive things. Not how I receive things, not how I want to give it, but how you receive it. So I took many tests. I had to take many tests to kind of figure out what kind of learning style she had. And then I'll sit down to her because she was very fearful when I'll become angry and yell. I'm like, listen, this is new to me. And because I I started to apologize all the time. Sometimes you're like, oh, I'm so sorry, And then to me, it reminded me of abuse, when, domestic violence abuse, you get hit, then you get that a big apology, but then it happened again and another apology. That's what I kept seeing. I was like, no, that's not right. And now Ty was like, you have to help me, If you feel I'm saying something that's upsetting or whatever, just say, Mommy, you're scaring me. Say something that will, now I'll know, okay, I'm going overboard. You're not, you don't feel safe or you don't feel comfortable. And she'll do that. At first she was a little reluctant. She was like, I don't know if that's gonna work. The more she started doing it, it gave her power to speak up when something went wrong. And then it also gave me power to stop, to control myself, to when I get that feeling like I'm about to scream or I'm feeling enraged for whatever reason, to notice that before I let it out and then just walk away, So it helped me to parent my children better, to understand them better. Then I have my son, and my son never went to any public school. He was just homeschooled soon that he was ready. So I've been doing that for quite a while, and my daughter's now 17 years old, and she's not afraid of anybody. She's well-spoken. She's very independent in terms of her studies. She knows how to study. When she goes places, whether she takes classes in colleges, or people always like, oh my God, she's very well-spoken. She knows what she wants. She's very sure of herself, and she knows herself. So, and that's what I wanted. That's pretty much what I wanted, because as an adult, we're dealing with a lot of old trauma, and we're dealing with now. We're trying to discover ourselves now. And she doesn't have to go through that because she discovered herself through homeschooling, finding out her weaknesses, learning how to strengthen it, learning how to ask for help when she needs help, learning how to confront and pick better friends, and defining friendship. What's a good friend, what's a not good friend, what do you want in a friendship, all these different things. And now when I see her and I hear her speak, I'm just like, this is the best thing that ever happened. This is the best thing that ever happened. So for my other two kids, my 11-year-old son and my 6-year-old daughter, I am doing the same thing, except that they got me when I'm already trained now.
Right.
I already
Right. It's not trial and error anymore.
Yes, I'm not in a trial and error anymore. We're past that, and I know exactly what the end result can be because I see it with my 17-year-old. Because in the beginning, you're not really sure. It's like, wait a minute, am I going to mess him up? Is this going to be a problem? And it wasn't. The fear that I had about, well, she may not be good at this, or she may not do good at a regular setting, or what about her future, college, all of these things was my worry in the beginning. But now, not anymore, because she herself has said to me, like, Mommy, I don't want to go to college. That is not something I want to do right now. I want to do trade. I was like, okay. She was like, maybe later on in life, I might go, but for right now, that is just not what I want to do. I want to do trade. She laid out her plan, and I supported that because not everybody's going to go to college. And the point for me wasn't, okay, a road to college. It was more a road to yourself. Know yourself, and be the master of yourself, and learn how to bring things to you and study. And if she needs to study something, she knows how to do it on her own. So I love homeschooling.